Many Chicagoans were shocked and appalled to see videos of heavily armed, masked federal agents in our streets yesterday. The reality is that this stunt has nothing to do with public safety. This is about politics, money, and power. The president is using his militarized force the exact way he intended, to advance his political goals. He wants to militarize our cities, whether that's through ICE or through the National Guard or the United States Army or armed forces. He wants to provoke conflict so that he can use this as a pretext to send even more federal agents into our city.
Let me ask y'all a question. How does this benefit Trump, who is going to be out of office after the next 3 years and can't run for president of the United States of America again? How does that benefit him? Usually when presidents, who is term limited, obviously, in their second term, they really do press through the agenda that they really want to get through, such as Obama, right? The Obama administration pressed through his alphabet community agenda. And so the Trump, administration is advocating for making sure that they keep Americans safe and they do the thing that's in the best interest of all Americans, regardless of whether or not you voted for them or not.
What we saw yesterday was an absolute disgrace. Families, visitors, everyday Chicagoans were out enjoying our city, and they were met with dozens of heavily armed federal agents aiming to strike fear in our communities. They targeted street vendors and construction workers, just trying to make an honest living. They made a little girl act as a translator as they took her family into custody. These are heartbreaking scenes that have nothing to do with making our city safer. My question to these masked, heavily armed individuals is simple. What could you possibly need an automatic weapon for? The only plausible explanation is that their aim is not to carry out their duties, but instead strike fear in our communities.
It's so funny he say that because I just seen a sniper take aim at a Dallas migrant facility or ICE facility that they were arresting migrants, open fire on ICE agents. I also see people trying to dox these people, and it was just a woman that was arrested for saying the address of one of these very people who are keeping y'all community safe and doing the Lord's work, if you ask me. So, I'm tired of these politicians pivoting and not actually doing the things that the people want them to do.
If you are following the law, if you are in accordance with the Constitution, if you have a criminal warrant, then there is no reason to cover your face. This comes on the heels of the revelation that was reported on MSNBC that Tom Homan, the so-called border czar, accepted a $50,000 bribe from undercover FBI agents in exchange for lucrative detention center contracts.
And now he's pushing propaganda that is proven to not be true. Every single independent investigator actually said that that is a lie. And so this is how you know that they caping and that they cap, and they will say anything in order to continue to try to push this agenda against Trump. In reality, and then he gonna say so-called. No, that's exactly what he was. He's what Kamala Harris was tasked to do, except for he's really executing on what he's supposed to be doing instead of whatever it is that Kamala Harris did and letting 10 million plus people allegedly into the United States of America. I hate this guy so much, honestly. And not even him as a person, him as a politician. I think that you can be as liberal and as whatever as you want to be, but when you start to do things that hurt the people in your own city, it's really mad. It's really mad.
So let's call it what it is. Tom Homan sold out the American people for $50,000 in cash. And that's why I'm calling on the federal government to appoint an independent investigator to review every single contract in the city of Chicago, the county and the state, related to any ICE detention centers. The people have a right to know if these contracts are legitimate or if they were granted as a result of outright bribery and corruption.
I wonder if they would say the same about all of the people that made a lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, and the contracting companies And we don't even know who owned these contracting companies that made all of the money off of the migrant crisis that he supported.
As of last week, 72% of those held in ICE detention have no criminal record. And of those with a criminal record, many are for traffic violations and misdemeanors. The Trump administration's detention campaign is not for public safety, it is for profit. More than 90% of the immigration detention centers are run by private and for-profit corporations. The Trump administration has already...
Similarly to the ICE facilities or the migrant facilities that during the Biden era that you decided that you wanted to get contracts with in order to spend an egregious amount of money for nursing contracts, for rent, and so on and so forth,
already engaged in no-bid contracts with private prison contractors across the United States. Executives at private prison firms are calling this a gold rush, as their stocks have soared by as much as 80%. In May, the CEO of a private prison corporation told investors, and this is a quote, "Truly one of the most exciting periods in the history of the company."
If it's a private prison, then how does the stock soar? How does the stock soar if it's a private company?
Company estimated that they could make as much as $400 million of taxpayer money per year from private detention. Another said that it could make as much as $1 billion in additional revenue. The two largest private prison corporations gave President Donald Trump at least $2.8 million for his re-election campaign. And this is the agency that Trump and Republicans just handed $170 billion, a blank check with little to no oversight. The money that Republicans gave to ICE is there's more funding given to ICE in this last budget that has been allocated for police departments at state and local governments in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia combined. Let me say that again. Trump gave his personal militarized force more money than all other local and state police funding combined. And the guy they put in charge of that funding was bought for $50,000 in cash. They are lining their own pockets and the pockets of the executives of a small number of corporations. I've spoken with parents in Pilsen, Little Village, spoken to business owners on Devon Street, elders in Uptown who are too scared to take their children to school. We're losing business, and they're too afraid to even attend church because of their legal status. They're afraid of the reckless actions that they have seen.
It's funny, they wasn't afraid to come over here across the border illegally though, right? They're afraid to attend church because of their legal, and he hiccuped. He was a little slow to say that. Let me say that again. Let me play it one more time for y'all.
Too afraid to even attend church because of their legal status. They're afraid of the reckless actions that they have seen.
Listen, man, y'all need to get this mayor up out of there sooner rather than later. And I can't believe that y'all continue to let this guy run the city. I can't believe that y'all even let this guy become the mayor of Chicago. And before that, it was Lori Lightfoot. So I question the judgment of people that's in Chicago. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.